M-Skill and GT Club present Fedor Yagudin on Cars. Translation and voiceover carried out by the group BMI Russian. Well, what do you know? What a piece of design! Yep. This car looks absolutely fantastic. It's just so angry, as if it's screaming. I've got loads of horsepower under my hood, and even more torque and grunt. Do you remember the clone troopers from Star Wars with their sinister-looking helmets? Here we have the same thing, that ferocious gaze and everything. This is a warrior from Star Wars. And what about the most suitable color for this car? Well, bright colors look very classy, but in my opinion, the best color for it is black, because black makes it very much look like a car for Darth Vader himself. I've heard that this M car is turbocharged. It's equipped with a twin-turbo S55 engine. The bonnet lid is quite light, by the way. Well, for God's sake, somebody stuck a piece of paper on this beautiful carbon fiber arch. There's a substantial aluminum strut tower brace under this plastic cover, and together they form an exoskeleton which increases the body's torsional rigidity. This does have an effect. You can definitely feel it when you're driving this car. Here we see a completely new engine, designated as S55. It's based on the conventional N55 motor, however, it differs quite significantly. The engine block is a new cast aluminum unit featuring a closed cooling jacket, which, although being more difficult to produce, does help reinforce the engine block, as well as providing more efficient cooling. This motor in itself is a technological masterpiece. It incorporates the best tricks and the best technologies. Everything from the fuel system with dual pumps working at 2,900 psi, which is almost like an F1 car, to the water-to-air intercooler, bespoke pistons and forged crankshaft. The internals are all forged, reinforced and lightweight. And finally, the motor itself is now significantly lighter than the previous generation's V8. But the main achievement with this generation of cars is the chassis. Everything is tuned for optimal connection between car and driver for better track and road feel. I think it's time to go for a drive. So here we are stuck in traffic. This car can very well be used for day-to-day driving. It's nice and soft, the suspension is quite comfortable, it soaks up all the bumps. The shell in itself is very stiff, about 20% stiffer than the previous generation M3. So, as you'd imagine, this car is very tight, despite there being a sunroof instead of a carbon fiber roof panel. Honestly, I don't get why you'd order your sports car without a carbon fiber roof. That said, the sunroof is a nifty piece of kit. When evening comes, you can open it up and gaze at the sky, at the stars. You can hang out with some ladies under the stars, seated in the front or in the back, and just enjoy yourselves. By the way, women are more than happy to jump into the M4. The materials are of beautiful quality, everything's very well put together. If you recall, we checked out a Mercedes-AMG GTS. Let me remind you how everything crackled in there, but right here I'm pressing down really hard. As you can see, my hands are shaking from the force I'm putting down, and it doesn't seem to mind. Everything's nice and firm, the quality is top-notch. Here's something worth mentioning separately, the heads-up display. It gives you a fantastic readout of RPM, vehicle speed, and everything else. Everything you need to know. The paddles are so cold to the touch. Their backsides are made of metal. I recall the older M cars, the E60 M5, the M6, having rubber covers on the paddles. They were also illuminated. These, on the other hand, are more slender. The main focus here is saving weight. Even the steering wheel was made specifically with weight reduction in mind. I must say, I do fancy the M-Spec steering wheel. Other manufacturers make their steering wheels angular, squared, but really, you can't beat the convenience of a good old thick rim. It's a very comfortable thing. The way it securely sits in your hands. Wow, and the way it just... Sorry guys, but I just have to show what this car can do. Its wicked temper is in complete harmony with its exterior. This is a true bad boy. This is a precise and exciting beast which rips your tires and your time to shreds. Time melts and transforms into something of relative magnitude. The Bavarians did their very best to achieve this. Compared to the E92, the M4 lost almost 90 kilos of excess weight, with a lower center of gravity and a much stiffer shell to boot. The suspension is mostly comprised of solid ball joints, with bushings used only to mount the engine and the rear diff. And you feel it with every movement of the steering wheel. You can very clearly tell when you're at the limit, and sliding this car is all sorts of fun. The engine truly combines the best of both worlds, a high-revving, naturally aspirated character with instantaneous responses without even a hint of delay or turbo lag. The motor redlines at 7,600 RPM, with a generous 550 Nm plateau of torque available from 1,850 and all the way up to 5,500 RPM thanks to two small turbines. The M4's entire being is focused on precision, speed, and driving pleasure. Even the drive shaft is made from carbon fiber, for minimal inertia and maximum weight reduction, providing the car with even more oomph. A few more final thoughts about the motor. When sliding the M4, you can definitely feel how beautifully it's tuned and its wonderful throttle response. This is achieved thanks to two small turbochargers, with the exhaust gases having to travel a very short path from the exhaust ports into the turbine wheels. Long story short, this is the ideal instrument for driving pleasure. The motor in itself is turbocharged perfection. It's an engineering marvel that you can go on about for quite a long time, but don't take my word for it. You're better off trying it for yourself, pushing it until you get a feel for how good the M4 really is, with its beautiful motor and its wonderful chassis. I asked myself, among all the M3 generations, which chassis is the nicest? Which one is the best? And now, after having yet another go in the M4, I'm going to say that this is definitely the one. Well, that's my opinion anyway. I'm very much aware of the E30, the E36, the E46, and that E92 with its heavenly, naturally aspirated V8 under the bonnet. Anyway guys, I'm still gonna go with the M4. This is the car with a superior chassis, and it truly has vast potential. All things considered, my final choice will have to be the M4. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Translation and voiceover carried out by the group BMI Russian. Big thanks to Alexander Karulin. And a shout out to the BMW Driving Experience Extreme Driving School, as well as its instructors.